Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. So, we got a few things to cover today. This is going to be a small update in the market because I've been waiting to drop a couple videos. I will be dropping a robotics update video very soon, but then also another video on, a few top altcoins that I do think are going to be performing very well going into Q4. So those two videos are coming. I was going to do it, whether yesterday, today, but I'm waiting for rate cuts. I'm waiting to see what the market is going to give us because if we can get better entries on a lot of different coins, I will feel a lot better about talking about them. So anyways, let's cover a few things, guys. So OVPP, this thing, as I crunch my hat, this thing has been a beast. This coin has been flying. So this is a new launch. This is basically the blue chip in energy, if you want to call it. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. But basically by when we first got into this, even though we did sell a lot of this early, this is the exact thesis behind why I knew this would run pretty hard. Is when you start to see other accounts saying exactly what I thought. Huge partnerships for this coin, blah, blah, blah 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 blah, 5x up on size, seems to become the blue chip for energy tokenization. I was kind of expecting people to look at this coin and say, okay, in crypto for years, we actually have not had a really good energy coin actually do anything. This looks like the first one with good partnerships to actually become a legitimate blue chip coin. And obviously, as you can see, it now has, or at least it looks like it. It is running like it is. This thing has been killing it lately. I'm kind of butthurt, coping, that it's still going. But at the end of the day, you can't catch every single coin, right? Yeah, people are blasting into this because they just partnered with the SEC, which is nuts. Anyways, we still got a lot of different coins in the market, lots of different stuff happening. So I do want to cover robotics a little bit because I've seen a lot of mixed opinions and stuff on the timeline. I do personally still think that robotics is going to be a major narrative, regardless of what anyone says. I think within Web 2, when robotics does get that traction, which it does not have it right now, it is a very new industry, at least for certain countries. It's a new industry that, not too much total infrastructure is actually built out yet. We're not seeing robots in every single person's house across the planet. We're just not there yet. Still waiting for that moment when robotics just starts to click with people, when these companies are launching left and right, not in crypto, but in Web 2, basically everywhere else, right? We got a ton of different companies that keep raising their valuations, like Figure AI just went from, I think it was anywhere from 5 to 7 billion, upwards of double, triple that now. Robotics will be a massive narrative, but I think within crypto, there's been a lot of talk of robotics in the sense that almost everything launching in this narrative is a scam, and I actually totally agree. I just put out a tweet earlier kind of saying the same thing. It's like there are a legitimate handful, if that, of quality, legitimate robotics projects that are not new launches. They've been building for months, if not years. Everything else, if it's launched on Pump Fun on a fucking shitter launch pad, a virtual robotics project, or if they're just new coins launching out of nowhere claiming to be robotics, unless they have some serious stuff going on behind the scenes, they are all going to be complete LARPs. I guarantee it. So yes, it is going to be a very sketchy narrative. Does not mean that the quality legitimate projects aren't going to run. That's actually why I like this narrative, because you are going to have most of that capital flooding into what? The legitimate handful of legit projects, if the attention gets there. But obviously you have the degens in the space who all they want to get into is, they'll miss the boat on the actual projects, the ones that have been building, and they want to jump into the brand new speculative scams. Because scams do pump the hardest. It's kind of the idea of crypto. If you guys have never seen that, you don't understand what I'm talking about. If you see a new narrative pop up, happens with everything. New narratives will pop up. Usually, most of the time, the best legitimate projects, they will go a little bit under the radar sometimes, and then you will get degens that are aping into brand new scams basically. And those are the coins that end up getting most of the traction for a narrative. Again, when you got the legitimate solid projects that are building, something with actual fundamentals, because they'd rather catch like a brand new coin. It's the dynamic of this cycle nowadays. But personally, I'm very bullish on robotics. I don't think there's a reason why you shouldn't be. I mean, like I don't even want to click on half of these, but it is a newer category in the CoinGecko or on CoinGecko, the platform. But literally, the only two that I personally even look at right now, Peak and Aoki. Aoki has been probably the only coin that I genuinely have been completely all in on as far as just anything and everything. Aoki, I think, is a powerhouse in the making. Most of these, you got a lot of paid shillers behind them. They're brand new, very new. Some of them are actually very dead in here, and or potential scams for a lot of these. Everything else, guys, and obviously within this is only a handful anyways. There's what, 15 to 20 if that. But legitimately, if I had to tell you, look at one, just look at Aoki. That's it. All I need to tell you personally. Only one that I'm even paying attention to. There are a couple other ones, but Peak and Aoki are pretty good. I mean, Robora too. This one I'd say is definitely I don't want to say definitely a scam, but it was a new launch on ETH, and usually ETH launches end up doing well. But this is not this is not one I'm like bull posting here. I just thought of that because we were watching this in our Discord for a while. But literally just Aoki I'd focus on in this narrative personally. But that was a little bit of coverage on robotics. But with Aoki too, it's had a pretty good run over the last couple weeks. Obviously, it's still down from its highs, still kind of chopping, and it likely will chop a little bit, bounce. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this start to move back up into 3 cents, 4 cents, going into the next few weeks. I'll cover maybe a couple more altcoins. I mean, there's a couple here too, like Ray. Ray has actually been on a dip now for over or just about a month. Ray looks beautiful. This has been a mid time frame triple bottom basically. Just considering this area here into another low. Had this huge pump the other day and it's retraced all the way down. So personally, I don't think this is going to go much lower than this. I think within 60 million to 80 million, this is going to be your entry for Ray. If you ever wanted exposure, that's going to be the entry. Again, maybe we dip to 70 one more time, then we bounce back, and then we build bullish momentum, maybe even into a fourth bounce or a fifth bounce until it finally goes on that run. But right now, this is actually priming itself to start that bullish momentum to then push into the next leg higher. Again, right, if it's going to. I know for a fact, I think this is still a very strong AI coin in general on base. Very good fundamentals to it. That's going to be your entry, guys. Pump has still been a great trade. I'm actually still waiting for this to dump, though. Don't even know if we will get that. Been waiting on Pump now for a couple days to dip. Doesn't look like it wants to though. Bitcoin right now is actually getting a little bit of traction. This was the last thing I wanted to update everyone on was Bitcoin and ETH right now, because we got rate cuts tomorrow. I think I pulled that tweet up right here. Fed to announce rates. Yeah, what is this tweet? Rate cuts tomorrow. If we got rate cuts tomorrow, personally, I was actually expecting Bitcoin to dump to around this area as of literally today, probably towards the end of the day. But as you can see, this caught more of a bid, getting a bit of strength here. So I'm actually very curious to see what happens because since my last video, I think things did drop a little bit. Unless you were holding OVPP, which just fucking continued to rip, or Zora, which actually started to move and was holding its levels. Basically, everything has been down over the last couple days now. But Etho momentum, it's just a weird looking chart now. You can kind of call this now a triple tap into resistance because this is now on a mid time frame. So this to me is starting to get to where you'd look to be cautious. But the momentum underneath this, guys, is still fairly bullish. As long as that holds the bullish momentum, as it's continuing to bounce up, it still has high potential to break through. And if rate cuts end up being very good tomorrow, as in the market just prices it in like crazy and we start to fucking rip, then yes, I have a feeling ETH will likely start to catch a bid pretty heavy. But again, if something happens, right, there's still potential that it does dip, maybe chops. Worst case, I would say, it comes down to around 39 and chops within 39 4K, sits there and then decides to bounce back up. All I'm watching for is ETH, even still in the market. There are some more newer coins on my radar that I've been watching lately. In our Discord too, over the last few days, even like week, we've been taking like trades here and there. They've had a couple really good wins, couple, that have been sideways. Also took like a loss or two. It's just part of the game. But I think over the last week and a half, it's been a very good week and a half, with everything kind of moving up. But yeah, that's why I'm waiting for rate cuts. Aside from most of my conviction bags, that I just haven't touched for a long time, most of like my shorter term trade bags or my low cap investments, a lot of those, we're kind of just waiting, seeing what the market's going to do, and just waiting for those perfect entries. It's like I'm very technical based, and I love when a chart just fits every single criteria that I'm looking for, on top of fundamentals and a flywheel, and everything that I look for with a good coin. Again, kind of like Ray is right now. For months, we've been waiting for a perfect potential entry, and I think right here is genuinely like a really good area. So I actually am thinking about buying some right now. But anyways, that is what I wanted to cover today, guys. I'll probably make some more videos on some other coins that I haven't covered before. And like I said at the beginning of the video, do expect a video talking about the top altcoins very soon, but then also a robotics update. So I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.